Here we are once again. Greetings, one and all, and welcome once again to Tom's Hit Parade Live. First of all, gotta say, I hope you guys all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Those of you in the States, obviously, and if there are any U.S. expats out there that enjoy Thanksgiving in other parts of the world, I hope your day was wonderful, full of good food, good company, whichever company you decided to surround yourself with. Everybody's situation is not ideal. Everybody's situation is different. So, as I mentioned in a tweet, I think I said, in whatever way feeds your soul, I hope you had a good and pleasant Thanksgiving, and that you are enjoying the weekend. And hopefully, well, I guess it's up to you guys, but hopefully you guys didn't submit to the retail bloodbath that is Black Friday. My family and I just don't have any need for that. We honestly, when I was, by the time I was 18 years old, my family and I had basically outgrown the need for getting each other a bunch of presents for Christmas. So we've never really done hardcore Christmas shopping. Every once, most Christmases we just get each other one or two little things, and then that kind of, we save up in a way. For like every 3 or 4 years, we kind of go hog wild and get each other a bunch of stuff. But more often than not, it's very low key. Christmas is very low key for us. Christmas shopping is very low key for us. And so is Thanksgiving almost all the time. The only relatives we have live on the other side of a mountain range. So usually by Thanksgiving, driving can be a little tricky for them to get to us. So yeah, we usually just have, including this year, it was just my immediate family and I. Had a nice quiet Thanksgiving dinner at home. Gotta say though that the food was probably the best that we've ever had. Just for some reason, everything just kind of clicked and came together, and all the dishes turned out perfectly. And knowing full well that there are some folks out there who can be food insecure. Actually, I know, am acquainted with one or two people who fall into that category. So we are very fortunate. I count my blessings all the time. So, and that we have plenty of food to eat, and that leads me into the first topic of tonight. Since it is Thanksgiving weekend, I thought I would talk for a little bit about what I'm thankful for. I am thankful for the very basics. I'm, think about that maybe not as often as I should, but I try to think about it and appreciate it as often as I can. The very, very basics: having a roof over my head, food on our table, clothes on my back, and being financially secure enough that we almost never have to worry about those things, being able to afford those things every month. So yes, we are very fortunate that way. Not rich by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, but financially stable. We thankful, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. It feels longer than 3 years, actually. It's only been 2 years, that my family and I are employed in industries that were not impacted significantly by the pandemic. My job, I just had to pivot, as the corporate euphemism is, pivot from an in-person work environment to a work-from-home environment for quite a while there. But other than that, yeah, our paychecks were pretty much secure. So that's something to be very, very thankful for, especially in the last couple of years. And, to have, as I said, food and electricity and heat, as well as, internet, so that I can do this for you guys. And also that I have enough spending money, funny money, that I can indulge my hobby of music and a couple other hobbies to a modest degree. Very, very, very thankful for that. Some people live paycheck to paycheck, and I guess in a way we do, but not as severely as a lot of other people out there. So I recognize my privilege, financial and in other ways privilege. And I'm very thankful for what I have and all that other stuff. Another thing that I'm thankful for is the things that have come to me by way of this YouTube channel. Oh, but before I get into that, staying with my music for a moment, very thankful that I have been enjoying my sister's music collection that I inherited from her for, I've been enjoying it for about 5 years now. So, and I'm still, because of her music tastes that have had an effect on me, some of the stuff that I've gotten into over the last few years, I probably wouldn't have without having been exposed to the music that she enjoyed. So, yes, very thankful to have a very music rich life for myself, both in physical format and otherwise. That's another thing that I'm able to afford every month is streaming membership, Spotify and otherwise. So that's lots and lots of things to be thankful for, lots of blessings to count that I have, and hopefully most of you out there are also so lucky in life to have lots of things to be thankful for. Another thing I'm thankful for is, before I get to my YouTube channel, I jumped the gun here, is somehow my family and I have been able to avoid the dysfunction that other families have unfortunately been subjected to through nature or whatever might have caused it, and whatever type of dysfunction other people may be having within their families. So yes, I have been very, very fortunate that way. Yes, my family and I have disagreements from time to time, but we have never had major rifts that have driven us apart. And one or two of my friends are unfortunately cannot count themselves as so lucky, and I truly feel for them. Um, but hey, I try to be there for them as much as I can be. So if their own family, part of it anyway, doesn't, I don't know where I'm going with this, doesn't fulfill the obligation, or that's probably that's the wrong way to word it. I like to think of myself as being there for these people in my life. So being a surrogate family, I guess you'd say. So, but anyway, all that other stuff, as I was about to get to, I am thankful for my YouTube channel and all the people that have come into my life because of that. I have 180 some subscribers, so I am very thankful to each and every one of you out there, even those of you who have just hit the subscribe button and never watch my videos. You probably won't see this, so you don't even know that I'm thanking you, but thank you. And of course, all the people who faithfully watch my videos and regularly watch them all the time, and those of you who comment on them. And also the 3 or 4 people out there who I have developed very, very close friendships with because of this YouTube channel. I am extremely thankful for you. You know who you are. I'm not sure, it would be hard to picture my life without you guys, you individuals in particular. That's just, you guys have been a blessing to my life, and my friendship with you makes me feel good. That warm feeling inside, like right after you've had a turkey dinner. Nice segue, huh? Anyway, so at the risk of or to forego getting even any mushier than I've already gotten, our stuffing wasn't mushy for dinner, so yeah, another segue. I'm not very good with the segues tonight, am I? So yes, I just wanted to express my thanks. I know I have done this before, but it bears repeating, especially when it comes to the close friends that I have in my life. Each and every one of them is, I feel, a blessing, and I'm rich. Even if I were dirt poor, I would be rich because of the friends in my life. They just add immeasurable happiness to my life, and there you go. So anyway, one thing I wanted to do before the main event is going to be my October and November playlist. But before I get to that, I thought I would maybe inaugurate a new feature that I think I'll be doing every week, maybe not every single week, but most weeks. And I intend for this to take over for my Spankin' Platters feature. I'm probably going to retire it, but it's going to serve a purpose. The spirit of Spankin' Platters, let's just say, is going to live on in my Album of the Week feature. And I'm going to inaugurate that with one of these that will not be appearing in my Spankin' Platters. Next weekend, I hope to be doing my fall edition of Spankin' Platters. Yes, it's going to be a month early, but I can't do it at the end of December because we're going to be doing, we're going to be smack dab in the middle of list season. I've got a few lists to be working on by that point, so there ain't going to be a Spankin' Platters in December. So yes, that will be coming along in the end of next week. Yes, next Friday. Hey, Noah, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well too. Glad to have you here. But yes, the inaugural edition of my album of the week is a compilation that I recently picked up. It is The Best of Bond, James Bond. Yes, it is a black cover, so I'm trying to avoid any glare whatsoever. This is, as the title probably tells you, it is a collection of the theme songs for the James Bond films. Now, I kind of have an interesting relationship with the James Bond series. To be brutally honest, I don't think I've ever seen a single James Bond movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces, and it's just spy movies and political intrigue and that kind of thing has never really floated my boat in terms of the kind of movies that I like to watch. But for some reason, I've kind of enjoyed being a music fan. I've kind of enjoyed the songs from the James Bond movies. I have had, I believe this is the third incarnation of a James Bond movie theme compilation that I've had, and this one just came out a month or so ago, and it is the first time in history, thanks in part to the pandemic, that we've gotten a collection that has been absolutely up to date with even with the release of the very latest James Bond film. This compilation came out at the same time that No Time to Die came out. Yes. That's how non-well versed I am in the James Bond movies. I had to look up the song title to remember what the name of the last movie was. So yes, this has every single song from the very beginning all the way up through Billie Eilish's version of No Time to Die. Fantastic collection of themes. I mean, we know a lot of these themes, and I have had so much fun. I listened to this probably 3 times all the way through already. But yes, as I said, not a fan of the James Bond movies just because it's not my thing. And there again, I have to say I have never seen a James Bond film, so it's just how the old mother's adage, how do you know you don't like it if you've never tried it, right? So I will confess, I do have to watch a James Bond movie. I've got a friend who's a big James Bond fan, so I will have to pick his brain for his favorite Bond movie, or the most accessible one, the one that he thinks I might enjoy the most. But anyway, yes, Shirley Bassey does 3 songs. I didn't realize until I read the track listing in here more carefully that there was ever anyone who sang more than one James Bond theme. So yes, Shirley Bassey sang 3 of them, and that voice, I mean, hello, you can spot that voice a mile away. Goldfinger was her first one and her biggest hit. And some interesting people who have done Bond themes over the years. Louis Armstrong. You wouldn't think that he would be the type that would do a James Bond theme. Tom Jones. Although I guess maybe, well, you could picture Tom Jones doing a James Bond theme before you could picture Louis Armstrong doing one. But yeah, Thunderball was the Tom Jones song. And Carly Simon, which was kind of an interesting choice, but hers is one of the best ones. Nobody does it better. Almost nobody does it better than Carly Simon. And of course, as you can imagine, my favorite era of James Bond themes is the 80s. And anybody out there who knows me even sort of will probably be able to guess my favorite James Bond theme. The one by Duran Duran, of course, Of You to a Kill. God, I love that song. And of course, Rita Coolidge, All Time High, that she did that's another one from the 80s. Fantastic. And one thing that I noticed was kind of seemed to be a bit of a trend in the James Bond film themes is several times the person who sang and performed the theme did so after the peak of their career. If you get my drift, Gladys Knight, her heyday was in the 70s, I believe it was, and I mean she was moderately successful in the 80s, but she didn't do one until I believe it was still in the 80s, the late 80s, License to Kill. But Tina Turner didn't do a James Bond theme until I think this was the early 90s, I think, with the GoldenEye. So I thought that was kind of interesting. One of the oddest ones, though, was Sheryl Crow. She seemed to be one of the most misfit ones. One of the ones just didn't seem to work, and another one that really did not seem to work for me was Madonna. And again, there's one that she kind of, after the peak of her career, was when she did a James Bond theme. So yeah, and I've never been a huge fan of Billie Eilish. I've got to say, I have to admit. So that song, I mean, it was okay, not one of my favorite ones, but of course, probably the best and prototypical James Bond theme, I guess you'd say, the one that pretty much everything after that came after it was measured up to, was "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney and Wings. I mean, that was, if you notice, most of the ones that came after that one had that same bombastic theatrical kind of thing that Paul McCartney put into "Live and Let Die." So he kind of set the benchmark for the Bond themes. But yes, so many good ones here. What was among the better ones? Of course, "Skyfall" by Adele. I mean, she just has that soaring voice that was just perfect for a James Bond theme. One of the best female James Bond theme songs that was ever done. I liked the Sam Smith one. That was pretty good. The old ones, the classic ones, seem to work better than the newer ones, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if that's just strictly a nostalgic person's point of view or not, but yeah, and of course the instrumental James Bond theme by John Barry, which is now a cinema classic instrumental movie theme. So yeah, this is an excellent compilation, one of the best. My compilation of the year, obviously, and it's kind of by default because I haven't bought very many compilations. Actually, I think this may be the only various artists compilation I bought this year. But yeah, excellent. And yeah, like I said, I'm not particularly a James Bond fan. This is kind of more for the music fan in me than for the movie fan. And I'm kind of curious how many other people might be like that. They're not particularly James Bond fans, but just love the songs. And I mean, you got to admit that's one of the things that they did best in the James Bond films, was choosing and writing and recording and performing the theme songs. I mean, so many of them have become signatures, and they're just fantastic. So, so what do you think of that for the inaugural edition of my album of the week? I think that's going to be good. It's going to feel like less work than doing a Spankin' Platters, even though I only do a Spankin' Platters every 3 months. But it's still kind of overwhelming to me to have to get into that, to have to prepare for that and stuff. But yes, hopefully I will have that ready for you guys next week. I'm a little bit behind, not as far along as I was hoping to be on the notes for Spankin' Platters. So wish me luck in getting that ready for next week's video. So anyway, on to the main event for tonight, my playlist for October and September and October, or October and November. October and November. Yes, this is the end of November, isn't it? Yeah. And despite it being a playlist that covers 2 months, it is relatively small. It's not as big as, not even as big as my regular 1 month playlists, just because I've been busy trying to catch up on new releases, which of course I don't like to talk about those in playlists. I try to save them for my Spankin' Platters. And yes, I had listened to the other listening is for my bargain bag, and I've been busy doing that too. So not a lot of leisure listening going on lately. So that's probably going to change. Hopefully that will change for the better beginning in January, after the year-end rush is over with. I think all of the new releases are out now that that I'm interested in for the rest of this calendar year. So yes, hopefully after list week, we'll have a nice lull, and I'll be able to get back into listening for pleasure, for listening's sake. And again, I have 6 CDs and 6 LPs for this playlist. No cassettes again. Yes, my cassette player hopefully is not going to atrophy and break down from lack of use. I haven't played a cassette for 2 months. So hopefully with my January or December and January playlist, I will have a bunch of cassettes to talk about too. First item on my playlist, I'll do the CDs first, is one that is very appropriate to this weekend, and you saw it in my thumbnail. It is Thanksgiving. This is a various artists collection by the Windham Hill label, and a bunch of primarily instrumental stuff on here. Nice, quiet, easygoing background music mostly by a lot of new age and smooth jazz artists. Paul Winter, Tim Story, George Winston, very great pianist. There's one by John Sebastian in here, and I don't think he is the John Sebastian who was the frontman of the Love and Spoonful back in the 80s or the 60s. Could be wrong, though. I'm not sure. And yes, Sean Harkness, Paul McCandless, and Michael Manring. Bunch of artists that you probably have never heard of, so I'll stop talking, listing their names. But yes, one thing that Windham Hill has always been really good at, trying to get rid of the glare here, is picking songs that fit a mood. They're very, very good at establishing a mood for their compilations, and this one just gives a very, very autumn feel to it. Theme of Thanksgiving, of being around your family, your loved ones, and enjoying the comforts of home and hearth, I guess. I'm kind of not describing it well, probably. But yeah, it just sets that mood, and that's, as I said, that's one thing that Windham Hill was very, very good at. So yes, we all have probably plenty of Christmas CDs, but you don't see very many Thanksgiving-themed CDs, and so I kind of had to have that one in there. And I actually do have something I missed out on this fall. Is I do have a cassette that is a Halloween-themed thing, so I got to remember to do that next year. Talk about that next year. Next up in my collection is goes along with the jazz and instrumental theme, a collection by Lee Ritenour, who is a great jazz guitarist that I've known about him for years and years. I really kind of discovered him in the last few years, and this is from his stint on the GRP jazz label. Lots of great stuff on here. A couple of instrumental stuff, but a couple of lyrical songs with words in them. There's one or two that has, I believe it's Portuguese lyrics, which I've always kind of enjoyed listening to Portuguese language in songs. So great stuff, and I can't really name songs because they're pretty much all original songs. Yeah, actually, I don't think there are any covers on here, so it probably wouldn't do any good to list songs by name. But still, very, very good. If you like smooth jazz, guitar, instrumental stuff, it's really, really good. Really, really good. Really, really good. Yes, I can speak. Next up, we have one of the CDs that I picked up at out in Oklahoma. This was the one of them that I bought at Gardner's Used Books, I believe. Walking Off the Buzz, the third album by Blessed Union of Souls. This is great stuff. The first release that I had by Blessed Union of Souls was a compilation, their greatest hits compilation, and a few of the songs that I remember very fondly off of that are some of the singles off this. That's the Girl I've Been Telling You About is one of their really good hits, as well as Hey Leonardo, She Likes Me for Me. That's another really good one on here. Those are tracks 2 and 3 back to back on this album. But lots of great funk-tinged soul, pop, rock. Really good stuff. If you like any of the singles that Blessed Union of Souls put out, you'll like all three of their first 3 albums. Excellent. And this one also has an Oklahoma connection, but I bought it here in Oregon. But they are an Oklahoma, I believe, a Tulsa, Oklahoma band, the Flaming Lips. I had never checked out the Flaming Lips before. This is I'm having trouble speaking tonight. My introduction to the Flaming Lips, the Soft Bulletin. This is the one that I had actually asked for Noah's advice on who to introduce myself to the Flaming Lips, what album to try out first, and he recommended this one. And it's great. A Spoonful Weighs a Ton is one of the better songs on here. I really enjoyed that one. It talks about the sun. A spoonful of the sun's mass actually does weigh a ton. They know their astrophysics. And Waiting for a Superman was another really good song. Gosh, I can't remember. I think I enjoyed the Spider Bite song pretty much because for some reason it made me think of Spider-Man. This is really kind of a silly, lame excuse for why it stuck out on me, but hey. But yes, very good stuff. I'm considering checking them out, another album of them. A little bit weird, a little bit out there, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. And then we have a compilation that I picked up at Epic Seconds a couple of months ago. Mark Cohn, the very best of Mark Cohn. This guy is a folk rock singer-songwriter kind of guy. Very good stuff. A great voice and a great sense of songwriting as well. Walking in Memphis is one of his big hits. His most successful hit, I believe. And gosh, it's been a couple weeks since I listened to this, so I should have marked down what songs on this really moved me. Walk Through the World was one, I'm pretty sure. And then Turn on Your Radio, a song with whose title suggests music. What can I say? I'm a sucker for those. And Saints Preserve Us, that's a pretty good song. But yeah, check out Mark Cohn if you like the singer-songwriter, folk rock kind of thing. He's very, very good at what he does. Excellent stuff. And I have saved the best CD for last. It's one that I just listened to this afternoon. Clarence Frogman Henry. Now, I had heard of this guy a few times, but I had never checked his stuff out. But this was actually in the $1 section. They, at House of Records, they had a $2 CD section, but they recently, about a month ago, marked them all down to $1. And yeah, this was in there. Excellent stuff, fantastic stuff. I don't know why I avoided this guy for so long. If you love that classic rhythm and blues sound that's got a little bit of blues in it, check out the Frogman. He is excellent. Ain't Got No Home is one of his big hits. If you recognize any Clarence Henry song, that's probably the one you're going to recognize. Although actually, what's the other one? I don't know why, but I do. That song was used in an ad campaign a year or so ago. I don't know why I love you, but I do. That's this guy. That's, what was it? Was it a Travelocity or Expedia campaign, I think? But yeah, I mean, and the good songs do not stop there. This has 18 tracks on it, and I love just about every single one of them. I mean, some of them were a little more bluesy, some of them are a little more soulful, but yeah, Clarence the Frogman Henry is just fantastic. I am so glad. He was worth discovering. Worth waiting that long to discover. Just fantastic stuff. That was definitely the highlight of my CD listening for the last month or so, aside from new releases and stuff. And now on to, well, first of all, a little drinky poo. Yes, I said drinky poo. Sometimes I say drinky poo. What can I say? And then on to the LPs. I've got 6 LPs to talk about today. First one is another jazz album. This one is Mirage à Trois by the Yellow Jackets. This is their sophomore album. I picked it up a few weeks ago over at House of Records. Really good stuff. Yeah, the Yellow Jackets, I've really come to enjoy them almost as much as Spyro Gyra and, well, not nearly as much as the Rippingtons. They are my favorite smooth jazz band of all time. But yeah, these guys, the way I originally heard these guys was they contributed a couple of songs to the Star Trek IV soundtrack, Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. So that was kind of a backdoor entry into their introduction to their music. So great stuff, lots of good upbeat songs, and they actually do a cover of "I Got Rhythm," the Gershwin brothers hit, but it's very contemporary, contemporary for the 80s. This is 1983, this album. So, but yeah, only 8 songs, some upbeat stuff, and some really good ballads. So, excuse me, yeah, really good stuff. And then I have a soundtrack album on here. This is the soundtrack from the original Kung Fu TV series back in the 70s, late 60s, 1973. And this has some dialogue snippets as well as some music from it. And I decided to get this one because, darn it, I didn't pull it off my shelf to show so I could show it to you. I had a pen pal, from Costa Rica, who was a fan of Kung Fu. I never was back in its original show back in the 70s. But they made a revival series of it, a modern sequel series back in the 90s, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. And I got into that show thanks to this pen pal friend of mine. And back when that show was going on, there was a soundtrack released for that show. And I really enjoyed that music. So I kind of bought this when I saw it in the used new arrivals at House of Records about a month ago. I decided I had to get this one as a companion piece to the Legend Continues soundtrack, which The Legend Continues one actually does not have any dialogue snippets, just it's just the music. And of course, as you can imagine, very Eastern influence of authentically Eastern instruments and stuff. Very good stuff. And then we have Willie Nelson with his album Without a Song. This is one of his more Great American Songbook leaning albums. I've really gotten into these. I've accumulated like 4 or 5 of them already on LP, and I've also got the deluxe version reissue of Stardust was in my sister's CD collection, so I have that on CD, and I think I also bought the LP version of it. But yes, this one is just right up there with his good stuff. I mean, yeah, Willie Nelson is one of those artists that really transcends genre. I mean, even if you're not a huge fan of country music, you kind of have to like Willie Nelson almost. He does a rendition of Autumn Leaves, which is kind of an interesting thing, and he does a Harbor Lights, which I believe is a Bruce Hornsby song. Let me check the label here. Oh, no, it doesn't say. Oh, it says Hank Williams or H. Williams. Maybe it's a Hank Williams song. Maybe it's a different one. Or maybe Bruce Hornsby did. Bruce Hornsby's version of Harbor Lights is a cover of the Hank Williams song. I don't know. I'm not well prepared for this video tonight, am I? But he also does As Time Goes By, the song from the movie Casablanca, and that's a duet with Julio Iglesias. His first of a few, or one of a few duets he did with Julio Iglesias. And You'll Never Know, I think, is also a classic song. And I Can't Begin to Tell You is another fantastic one. So yes, Willie Nelson pretty much never disappoints with his classic Great American Songbook style albums. It's just wonderful. And then this next one is kind of a bit of a nostalgia piece for me because I originally owned it on cassette back when it was issued by Columbia House, the mail order music club. It is Gold and Platinum. This is the first in a series. They did a series of at least 5 or 6 volumes. And this is, as you can see by the cover, it is a greatest hits assemblage of popular hits of the day. This was 1980. There's several different years here. 1984 is the most recent one on here. So yeah, yes, this was put out in about 1984. Paul McCartney, Hall & Oates, Cyndi Lauper, Toto, Journey, Asia, Pat Benatar. I mean, this is literally an 80s pop radio greatest hits thing. It's got, what does it have? 16 tracks on here, like 8 songs on each side. So they were the radio edits, of course, so not the full tracks. But Come On, Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot is on here. Michael Jackson, Human Nature. Tell Her About It by Billy Joel is on here. So, and Twist of Fate by Olivia Newton-John. So yes, pretty much all the big hits from the first half of the 80s were on that. And for some reason, well, probably just because I got the greatest hits by those artists and stuff, so the original cassette became redundant, so I got rid of it years and years ago. But purely for nostalgia's sake, I had to pick up this record when I saw it in the new recent arrivals at House of Records. And then these last 2 records are 2 of the albums that I picked up in Oklahoma on my travels in Oklahoma and Texas. Actually, only Oklahoma is where I bought records. I didn't buy any records in Texas. This one is Poolside by New Shoes. This was a new wave pop group from the 80s. Their big hit, I Can't Wait, was that was their big hit, and it's on this album. And there are a couple of other great songs on here. Going Through the Motions was a really, really good one. And Point of No Turn, that was really good also. And Don't You Be Afraid. This has, it only has 8 tracks on here, and actually so did the Yellow Jackets album, just coincidentally. So yes, only 8 tracks, but they're all just great songs. Textbook new wave, pretty much, from the 80s, but one of the far lesser known and undeservedly so groups from the 80s. So yes, check out New Shoes if you haven't yet. And then the last album here we have is from the Walter Murphy Band, or Walter Murphy as he is credited on some of his albums. This is A Fifth of Beethoven. The title track was a disco-fied version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, which was popularized in the movie Saturday Night Fever. And there's also another classical song that he, oh no, two more that he gave the disco treatment. Flight 76, which is a version of Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov, as well as a song he calls Russian Dressing, which is based on Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1. So yes, clever titles for these songs. But all the other ones are original. Oh no, there's another classical one, Nightfall, based on Chopin's Prelude No. 4. So yeah, what four is that? That's 4 or 5 classical derived pieces, and the rest of them are contemporary original songs by Walter Murphy. The California Strut is one of them on here. So yeah, good stuff, and a mix of instrumental and vocal tracks. So yeah, there's a lot more to the Walter Murphy Band than I thought there was. So yeah, enjoyable stuff. And this was in the $1 section at I cannot remember the name of the record store. It was the last one that we went to that on our Tulsa day. Noah, if you might remember that one. Yeah, it was in the $1 section. So for $1, how could I pass it up, right? So that is my playlist for this month. Anybody want to help me fill the rest of this hour-ish with silly banter? Since my silly banter is not at its best right now. Excuse me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the playlist. Hopefully the next playlist I do, which should be at the end of January, will be fuller of stuff. Yeah. What am I... I could talk about I actually bought 3 new releases on album, actually all on CD this last week, and I have yet to listen to... Well, I've listened to parts of all 3 of them, but I liked them enough to pick them up on physical. Adele's 30, which I kind of had to. And a funny story about that one, I listened to it. It was last Friday that I listened to it, and I was really, really tired that day. Actually, I think I talked about that during last Friday's live stream. Listen to the first few tracks. I thought I listened to like half of it, but it turned out to only be like the first 3 or 4 tracks, and I did not like it at all. It just rubbed me the wrong way. Pretty much every track did. So I was ready to just write it off. But I believe it was Tuesday when I was at work, I decided, what the heck, I'll call it back up on Spotify and pick up where I left off. And the rest of the album I really, really enjoyed. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up. And yes, I actually got the last copy that House of Records had in stock. So yes, because of me, they had to reorder it. So yeah, that one. And I'm looking forward to absorbing that on repeat listens. And I also picked up another artist that I'd kind of written off because their last album was sort of underwhelming, and that is Walk the Moon. I put on their new album, The Heights, on Spotify and listened to the first 4 or 5 songs, and I really enjoyed what I heard. It really pleasantly surprised me. So I picked up that one as well. And then what is the third one? I cannot remember her name. She's a classic soul singer, R&B singer, who just put out a new album. Diana Ross. There we go. I knew I was going to come up with it eventually. Her new album, Thank You. It's again, I sampled some of the tracks on Spotify and enjoyed them. So yes, I got those 3 CDs I picked up, thanks in part to an in-store credit that I had. So it wasn't all out of pocket. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to listening to those 3. Those are the last 3 new releases that I picked up, that I have expected to pick up this calendar year. So my year-end list is going to be long. I'm going to have to cut quite a bit off of it to fit it into the... I usually make my list 25 items, and that's probably what I'll do. I don't know if I will shorten it to 20 or not, but it'll probably be 25, and of course there are going to be several honorable mentions as well. So it's just going to be taking the next month to arrange the list, whittle it down as necessary, and prepare it for my video. So Yes, in a way, I'm kind of glad that I did that big decade list, or those big decade lists, plural, to kind of warm myself up for making a smaller list at the end of the year. So, and of course, probably before I do my albums of the year list, I will be doing my um, phase one bargain bag grand finale, which will be breaking down the was that for 28 CDs that I opened, and counting down my 10 favorite bargain bag discoveries of the year. So that's going to be fun. As for my other lists, I don't know if I'm going to do a disappointments of the year list, or a what is it? My second thoughts of 2020 list. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I don't really have. I think I only have two from discoveries from last year that I found this year that I could put on that list. So I kind of think it's a little pointless to do a list if it's going to be anything less than 5 items. So we'll see. We'll see where that happens. Or maybe I'll just talk about them and not rank them if it's only going to be 2 or 3. So we'll see about that. And yeah, that's the same thing with the disappointments list. It's only, I think, maybe 3 items, maybe 4 long at this point. So I don't know. We'll see. And I might do my favorite album covers. I kind of enjoy doing that one. That's just one of those silly little lists that you don't really take seriously. Not as seriously as the albums of the year list, of course. So yeah, that is what's coming up for the end of the year. And then, of course, probably the first week of January, I will be doing my annual State of the Channel address. I kind of like to do that. That's become a bit of a tradition. Oh, and of course, I've got at least one holiday-themed video to bring to you during the month of December. Now that Thanksgiving is done and out of the way, I will be able to start listening to holiday music. So I'm hoping to do 12 CDs of Christmas, 12 tapes of Christmas, and at least one holiday now and then. So it might be I might be biting off more than I can chew in that, but we'll see. I might do one of the 12 days and one of my 2 now and thens in each video, so I can do 2 videos with the same general format. So we'll see. And those I might actually pre-record. I mean, I can obviously just record with this camera instead of live and not just live stream. So I may do those videos pre-recorded and upload them, so I'm not taxed with trying to schedule all that and stuff. And I'm getting into the nitty-gritty that you guys probably don't really care about. And I'm just rambling, trying to take up time. So yes, I think we'll probably cut this video at the 45-minute mark. So I hope you guys I've got my closing all queued up and ready, so I don't have to go searching for it. I'm just kind of writing out, waiting if anybody has any more questions before I actually officially sign off. So yeah, I don't think there's anything. Oh, one other thing, my liner notes thing that I usually do before I do my playlist. So I guess I shouldn't close the video without mentioning Stephen Sondheim just passed away. Was it yesterday or today? The age of 91. So yes, I have never been a huge show tunes or musicals fan, so I couldn't recite any Sondheim lyrics to save my life. But he is unquestionably, he had a huge influence on music, and especially music as it relates to the Broadway stage and movies, the movie adaptations of his musicals. So a tremendous loss in the world of music. Stephen Sondheim, may he rest in peace. But he, gotta say, he lived a long, healthy life, 91 years old. So yes, Godspeed, Stephen Sondheim. So I guess that is going to wrap things up for now. So yes, that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, hit that like button and share it with your friends. And give me your thoughts, questions, suggestions, or constructive criticisms in the comments section below. Also, scroll down to the description for the links to my Twitter and Instagram feeds, and links to my favorite fellow YouTubers who are all worth checking out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and browse my past videos. And be sure to ring that notifications bell so you'll be the first to know each time I drop a new video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next Friday. And remember, life's too short to be a music snob.